The Mediterranean diet is one of the most researched ways to support healthy blood sugar. Yet, so many people with diabetes still feel scared, confused, and out of control. Now, if you've been told that your blood sugar is high, or if your A1C keeps creeping up, and if the word diabetes suddenly made the future feel very uncertain for you, and you're not just worried about these numbers, you're actually worried about what those numbers mean for your life, well, you might be thinking, is this going to get worse? Am I going to end up on more and more medications? Will I ever feel stable again? And what makes it even harder is that most people are never shown a clear, realistic system for improving blood sugar the Mediterranean way. So today we're going to talk about that exactly, very clearly, very sincerely, and without all these extremes and distractions. Because high blood sugar doesn't just live in a lab result. It actually shows up in your everyday life. How about that constant fatigue or that stubborn weight gain? How about those cravings you just can't seem to shut off and that food noise that's always going on in your brain? Or how about the brain fog or feeling hungry right after you've just eaten a meal 1 or 2 hours ago? And what about the anxiety every time your lab work is due? You see, most people try to fight all of this by just cutting out carbs completely or skipping meals or jumping from diet to diet, following extreme advice online from random people. If this sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. So instead of feeling empowered, you might feel exhausted, restricted, and more discouraged than ever. This is obviously a problem because that cycle can make you start to believe that something is actually wrong with you or your body. But the truth is, your body is just responding to an environment that has not been properly supported. And if you're already thinking, well, Dr. Anna, she's nailing this. I am exactly in this situation. And I'm thinking, I really just need some real guidance. I'm just really confused. Well, I want you to know this. I'll be hosting a free live webinar very soon right here on YouTube. And in this free webinar, I'm going to teach how the Mediterranean diet can support weight loss, blood sugar balance, and long-term metabolic health in a very simple way that's honestly a lot of fun. You can register at the link below this video to grab your seat. Again, this is completely free. And in this webinar, I'm going to walk you step by step through what actually works. And I've been doing this with thousands of people online, and I'm telling you, you don't want to miss this webinar. Okay, let's keep going. So now, here is what your blood sugar really reflects. When you go to the doctor and you get blood work and you're at home and you're checking your blood sugar and then you see that A1C every few months. Well, these really aren't just random numbers. They don't have no meaning behind them. What do they actually mean? Well, they reflect our metabolism and our body's ability to handle the sugar that we eat. And this is how your body's really processing energy, responding to all the different kinds of food that you're eating, and how it handles stress and restores balance in your metabolism. And most people just assume that your sugar numbers are a simple reflection and they're very straightforward just from the exact grams of sugar in your food and you're done, that nothing else is behind it. But that's not the case. In fact, when we dig through this more and more in this video, I hope this becomes really clear. There are so many other factors that play into your blood sugar number. It includes things like what else you're eating besides the carbs, how much you are or are not sleeping, how much stress your body feels, are you drinking alcohol? Other things are affecting this. And as well, not just what you're doing, but how your body is composed, meaning your body composition. In other words, how much or how little healthy muscle tissue you have. So here's something really important that just needs to be said super clearly off the bat. There are some people with diabetes who absolutely need medication, and I am a medical doctor who prescribes medication all the time, and believe me, it is life-saving. Medication can be essential, and it can be part of very good healthcare. This is not one of those videos that says, all meds are bad, only go natural, everybody is lying to you. I'll be honest, that perspective is not real medicine. What does matter is this. Even when medication is necessary, lifestyle is always also necessary, and it's always a powerful player in your regimen, in whatever you're doing to try to manage your condition. So medications may help manage those numbers, absolutely, but the lifestyle really changes the game because it affects the environment that created the imbalance in the first place. The best thing of all is if you need to be on meds, you also need to be doing the things that are part of the lifestyle that create a healthier environment for your body, meaning fixing that diet. Okay, let's talk about why most methods don't last, because this is really classic. This is where people get really stuck. Most people are just told you have to eat less, move more, avoid carbs, and all your blood sugar worries are going to go away. Or just avoid these foods and you're done. But that advice ignores biology because extreme restriction may lead to rebound overeating behavior, you feeling like your energy is super unstable, you slowing down your metabolism overall, and ultimately you just feeling frustrated. Because over time, people will start to think, this is just my genetics, this is just aging, this is just how it is for me. But your body isn't broken. It has simply not been supported with the right framework. So you might be wondering, what is the right framework? Okay, Dr. Anna, lay it on us. Let's talk about the new system. And this is the Mediterranean way forward. So the approach that I believe truly supports blood sugar stability the best long term is really built on just 3 pillars. The first is Mediterranean-based eating. Now, it doesn't mean everybody needs to be doing Mediterranean all the time, but the concepts that come from the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle are tried and true across the board. Because this way of eating emphasizes real whole foods, eating lots of healthful plant foods like vegetables and fibrous carbohydrates, consuming lots of healthy fats like olive oil or walnut oil or pistachios, eating high quality protein sources from things like fish or poultry or high quality dairy like Greek yogurt, feta cheese, eggs, beans, lentils, and overall, slowing down your meals and being much more intentional about your eating process. When you put it all together, this pattern has shown time and time again that it supports improved insulin sensitivity, better A1C numbers, reduced levels of inflammation in the body, and overall more stable energy. Now, I'm sure some of you might be wondering, well, don't lots of things do that? Sure, some things do, but there's not as much research on other diets as there is the Mediterranean diet and lifestyle. It is the most researched approach to eating. So there's a lot of stuff backing this up. Okay, what's the second component? The second component is what I like to call eating with the perfect meal formula. So not only are we targeting the Mediterranean approach or the Mediterranean lifestyle, but we need to make sure we are eating in a balanced way. So instead of guessing what to eat all the time, this system that I like to teach provides clarity and simplicity. So the idea here is that every single time you eat, whether it's a full meal or even just a snack, you want to eat at least a source of protein, at least a source of fiber, at least one source of healthy fats, and at least one source of natural and abundant flavor, things like herbs or spices, because this combination will help you slow down those glucose sugar spikes, keep you full longer, overall reduce your cravings, potentially allowing you to eat less, and then stabilizing your blood sugar naturally, which is amazing because if you can start to put this into practice, you'll stop reaching for food all day long and like pecking at random snacks. And instead, you're going to be like partnering with your body and you'll be stimulating your metabolism in a way it needs to be stimulated. Now, we have this third factor, which you want to keep in mind all the time. So not only are we needing to eat from a Mediterranean approach, meaning all the themes that come along with the Mediterranean lifestyle, eating whole foods, slowing down, having sustainable, enjoyable meals with people that we love, getting daily movement in, and all of the nutritional things we talked about with the perfect meal formula. But we now have to target sustainability over perfection because so many people struggle with blood sugar control and their numbers, their blood sugar numbers, their A1C numbers are all over the place because it's actually reflective of the fact that they can't stick with any one approach. Now let's break this down for a second because this is really crucial for you to understand if you want to overall improve your numbers on your blood tests. The goal is not just to follow a rule book for 2 weeks and be perfect and then totally give up. Instead, the goal is for you to build habits that fit your real life for the long term. Now, did you know that your A1C is a number that actually shows the trend of your blood sugar over about 90 days or 3 months? So it's an actual estimate over time. And so if you're doing something just for 2 weeks, don't expect it to dramatically impact something like your A1C because that just doesn't make any sense. Instead, when we have repeatable behaviors like repeatable meals, simple routines, consistency over intensity, well, this is where the real metabolic changes happen. Now, at this point, we're going to make this real and very practical. Because when I work with patients in my clinical work, there's often this huge misunderstanding about what actually impacts blood sugar. Because most people, they end up coming coming into the doctor's office believing that they just can't eat any carbs or they're not allowed to eat carbs if they get diagnosed with something like prediabetes or diabetes. They might be thinking that potatoes are bad. Rice is going to spike my sugar no matter what. Pasta's the worst thing for my diabetes. And yes, ultra-processed carbs absolutely can destabilize your blood sugar, but not all carbs are the problem. Here are 3 practical shifts that can change everything for you. Number 1 is pairing your carbs instead of just eliminating them. So what I'm talking about is, let's say you do want to eat some potato or a little bit of rice or oats. Those things are going to behave completely differently in your body if you eat them alone than if you eat them as part of a balanced meal that also includes the other aspects of the perfect meal formula. Now, a plate of just white rice, that's going to give you this fast sugar spike. There's no question about it. But rice paired with grilled fish, vegetables, olive oil, chopped nuts, well, that's going to slow down the digestion of the rice and have much more stable blood sugar. The perfect meal formula is not about eliminating specific foods. It's actually about just combining them strategically. So if you're somebody that has a particular favorite food that you just absolutely can't give up, well, let's come up with a smarter way to incorporate that. Now, the next thing I want you to keep in mind is that when it comes to eating carbs, you always want to try to select fiber-rich carbs. That is always true, whether you have diabetes, prediabetes, or not. Many carbs actually help regulate our blood sugar because of their fiber content. And fiber is that bulky component of plant foods. So these are included in things like lentils, beans, chickpeas, for example, vegetables, whole fruits, whole grains. The fiber inside of these foods helps slow down the sugar absorption in our blood and overall improve insulin sensitivity. So the problem is eating carbohydrates without fiber, well, this is what's always going to lead to a really fast absorption of that sugar, meaning your blood sugar is going to shoot way up. Plus, lots of the ones that I just listed have the added benefit that they also include some protein, sometimes even some fats. That's even better for your blood sugar control. Now, when patients realize that they can eat foods like beans and still see improvement in their numbers, usually a light bulb goes off for them. Now, I'll tell you a quick story. I had a patient recently and he has diabetes, and we were talking about the fact that he's been getting involved with weight training, which is fantastic. It's super good for your body to do weight training. And he was a pretty athletic guy, and he was kind of eating no carbs at all and then having very low blood sugars at certain times of the day, which is very dangerous. And what we had to talk about is how to incorporate the carbohydrates in a safe way, because when we're burning calories and doing weightlifting, we're burning through stored carbohydrate that's in our muscles. And so the problem is, if people aren't replenishing that, they can get themselves into a dangerous situation. So it was amazing. We walked out of that visit and he was super pumped to start eating oats as part of his pre-workout snack so that he doesn't have these low blood sugars afterwards. Really, really simple stuff that actually can change your overall numbers because you're keeping your blood sugar more stable. Now let's talk about overall how to eat in a way that prevents these spikes and crashes. So if you followed with me along this video and you're at this point, you may have started to make some conclusions for yourself. Unbalanced meals often lead to spikes, then crashes, which then lead to cravings, and that can lead to overeating or eating erratically or making poor food choices, and we start the cycle all over again. But when meals follow the perfect meal formula, people often notice they're having fewer energy dips. They may actually avoid low blood sugar incidences, which is dangerous. There's less urgency around food. Maybe they get rid of that food noise, and their mood might become more stable. I see this happen all the time in my clinical work. It's not because they're being overly strict with themselves, but because their biology is finally supported. We're working with the system of your body, your physiology, in other words. So if that sounds interesting to you and you'd like some structured support to apply this in your own life, don't forget, I'm going to be teaching a free live webinar right here on YouTube very soon. And in that webinar, I'm going to break down my entire Mediterranean system step by step so you can start applying it. You can register using the link below this video. It is designed for people who want clarity and they're sick of feeling overwhelmed. So if you've ever heard your doctor say, well, your blood sugar was high, or it's borderline, or this is concerning me, I want to ask you, What did that moment actually feel like for you? Did it scare you at all? Did it confuse you? Did it make you feel like you're stuck? Well, if so, comment below and share with me. I'm curious to hear about some of your experiences because I am doing this work all the time, one-on-one with patients. But my suspicion is a lot of you are having similar experiences and a lot of you have similar fears and doubts. And I would love to be able to support you more. And I know there's tons of people who show up on this YouTube channel who are super supportive. So comment, share below, what has your experience been? And when you're ready to keep moving forward, go ahead and jump into my next video right here on this channel, where I'm going to teach lots more about how to do Mediterranean lifestyle, eating, lots of fun things in there. Jump into that video and I'll see you over there.